We're live.
Hello world, this is the Podland Proof of Concept demo team doing what we do, which is tracking the Mojo phenomenon and sharing with the world the methodology we use to do so. This session we're going to do our normal 3-act structure, which is Act 1, fundamentals, where we're going to do collaging, looking at pictures of celebrities and associating the physiological cues that you're seeing with descriptive words so we can have a language for describing the phenomenon we're seeing. Right now, well, we'll get to that when the collages come up, but we're doing the TV show timeline. Act 2 is the intermediate portion, which is the major proof of concept for the team. The team has had a week under blind test conditions to look at 5 to 10 samples from pop culture, and now we're coming together to see what the cohesion of accuracy is. The most challenging samples we'll spend some time reviewing. The samples this week came from, is it Malcolm?
From
Alcides.
Alcides this week has those, and then you'll need to check the inbox. Hopefully he sent in some live samples for some extra samples for us to do in the Act 3 advanced portion, the live read. If not, we'll just gather some. In that portion, the team will be doing a read in real time, and you hear them discussing what they think it might be, asking questions, putting out some tentative assertions, and so forth. And you'll see the process that experienced Mojo readers like the team actually use when they're doing it. And that's a process every Mojo reader should be doing, even within their own psyche, quietly. And then here, when they're with other Mojo readers, they can speak out the process. All right, so introductions, and we'll get into it. I am Nai Ji Coach.
I am Jailin.
I'm Zaini Ademas.
I'm Naiji Ban.
And this is Naiji Glenn.
Take it away, Jailin.
All right, so let's screen share the TV show Pop Culture Timeline. We are still moving through the 2005 through 2009 timeline, and we are starting off with True Blood. Okay, so we'll go round robin, starting off with Coach, reading off the show descriptions and the cast and their mojos, and for our first turns, we'll read out a cue for that particular mojo of the cast member, and then anytime there's a new gender mojo, we'll also call out a cue for them. So,
All right,
Coach.
True Blood. I did not get into this show myself. I know it was really big. A lot of people did. Anyone else ever watch this?
Not me.
No?
Not me.
Okay.
I did.
What was the appeal? I'm curious, because I know it's very popular.
What was the appeal?
Mm-hmm.
Vampires.
Vampires and sex.
Okay. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. All right. Telepathic waitress Sookie Stackhouse, interesting name, encounters a strange new supernatural world when she meets the mysterious Bill, a southern Louisiana gentleman and vampire. The series follows Sookie. Okay, we already said that. When Vampire Bill walks into her place of employment 2 years after vampires came out of the coffin on national television. Interesting.
I'm serious.
Well, I think another appeal to this show is that there was probably a lot of Nazez, too.
Yeah, there were a lot of Nazez in the show, weren't there?
Mm.
Right, there's lots of shows that can get canceled quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
Would you say that Nazez shows are the predominant?
There's a lot of Nazez shows. That's
Yeah.
that's a very great in comedy, drama, everything.
Right.
Okay, so Nizayana Paquin, one of the things you'll see with Nizai is that they are objective. The way you can tell that is in the eyes. They have what we call unhooded eyes, which are like you've got your face up against the glass, and you're really the eyes are open and don't have a lid, right? I think.
Well, another thing, a fine detail on that is that everyone's facial fascia around the eye, right in the eye socket area, there's some very, very, even for the face, very tender flesh. Okay, this tender flesh here is responsible for all the things that the eye can do, and as far as the muscles around it, the flesh around it, and it is very subtly doing squinting, flexing that fascia inward, or it is flexing outward, opening it up. And there's all kinds of complex combinations of that to give these amazing facial expressions. But objectives, the unhooded eyes refers to the fact the baseline setting is that fine, soft flesh, that eye socket area, is set at a baseline of tensioning outward. Just a slight tensioning outward is what gives that. Which is why you can even have very, say, thin eyes. Different nationalities or ethnicities, such as certain Asiatic ones, they may have that, but you'll still actually have that flexing of that fine flesh around the eye socket, either taught outward or inward. Objectives, it's doing it outward, making the eyes slightly wider.
Nizy Stephen Moyer. Okay, so as a Nizy, then they are Ni alpha. So they have Ni first. That makes them subjective. So they have a hooded eye quality, but you can see that that kind of hooded eyes, they are the cunning eyes of Ni. So they have this piercing, penetrating look to their eye. On the left, you can see that he's kind of looking straight forward, but the eyes aren't really out. They're hooded, so they look like they're kind of looking from the inside out. On the right, you can see more of that penetrating quality. Notice the eyes, they have a clearness to them. And they have a quality that's kind of just locks right onto what they're looking for and stares through it.
Ben?
Oh, sorry. Jinai, Sam Trammell. Jinai have G as their source power, which gives off a signal of caring throughout the entire face, all the way up to the brow line. The signal of G will also be present in the eyes, although you also see Ni there as well.
Jinai, Ryan, Quantin. Jinai are also discernment lead mojos, so their face has this sort of continuous quality. It's connected from their eye area and the bottom half of their area of their face as well. There's the emoting that goes all the way up to the brow line, and there's this continuous energy field that's given off as a result. And they have particularly the Jinai, they have the G warm helmet of caring as their kit.
Vijay, Regina, Wesley. All right, Vijay are gather mojos, and so they're going to have that widened, perked up, kind of almost like a bit of a perma-perk all the time, gives that open, drinking in quality. And here it's going to be the clear camera lens-like quality of V.
Nizy, Chris Bauer.
Nijai, Nelson Ellis. Okay, so the Nijai are Jez Gatherer mojos. So, okay, let's focus on values-based. Being values-based means that they're going to have a motive expression going above the midline. Since it's Jai, then it's going to be unaware emoting. But if you look at the picture on the right, then you can see that he has this apple cheeks quality. The apple cheek looks, that's mainly a Jez Gatherer thing. But in the cheek area and under the eyes, then you can see that there is this tenderness in the facial fascia, where the cheeks itself, they're ready to flex, they're ready to do emoting, and when they actually do emote, then it goes quickly up the midline.
Nizai, Carrie Preston. Have Nizai been done yet?
Nizy have been done.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Nizy, Alexander, Starsguard. And Bruno.
Hey guys.
Hey, Bruno.
Nijai. Hey. Nijai, Deborah, and Wolf.
Okay. We've done Nizy, but since this, actually we haven't done Nizy Lady, and it's your first turn, so go ahead.
Okay. So as a Nijai, he has unaware emoting, like Ademus is saying, and along with that, she has Z neutralizing, which goes. Let's see. Now, Z neutralizing, I believe, is in the mouth region, but only um, from the midline down to the lip line. Is that correct?
What's the
So asking
the
for
neutralizing?
neutralizing.
Well, the neutralizing can go all the way down, but you are right. It's kind of like reverse emoting, which is that we'll say total, full suppression of the emoting does not go down as far. There is going to be the area above the lip that's going to just naturally always be wanting to emote.
And so that goes from the midline to the lip line.
Yeah.
Right.
I want thinking a little more, but that does apply to this case here. But yeah, basically it is reversed so that she's going to be able to suppress her cheeks to some fullness up higher.
Interesting.
And then as it gets lower into the face, the ability to suppress or to curtain will get harder to do. There'll be more like vibratory energy in the lips wanting to go. In the case of a Jaini, for example, it really is difficult to actually bring the curtaining down much below the high cheeks at all. And even then, you see even the eyes want to constantly take on tone, not just the mouth. So
Yeah. So the source of the neutralizing is in the cheeks, whereas the source of the mowing is in the mouth. They
yes.
sort of push up against each other in certain ways. Although
Exactly.
it overlaps if they're values based, but it doesn't overlap if they're the neutralizing overlaps with but the mowing doesn't go into the cheeks if they're logic based.
Right, exactly. But you're right. It's a push back and forth up and down the face between the emoting and emoting up and the curtaining down.
Yeah. And that's
then
cool.
the strength
Like
of
discernment.
rise or fall will
sort of,
depend on lots of the too.
Yeah.
And it aligns with the little gold ellipses that are in the pod layer designs, right? In
Yeah,
the
the million
faces.
faces, yeah.
That's cool, Bruno, because that is actually already in the theory, but we really haven't we generally talk about it from the upward rise of the emoting, but there is a downward drive of the curtaining.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, the images they seem to they have a rough idea. It looks like.
Who's up? Is that me?
I think this one's yours, Coach.
Oh, my turn. Or is it my turn?
One thing that Tiny have, and it's kind of interesting, we don't normally get to do this, but it's here, is spider hands, which is they're going to have the long hands of, the long elongated hands of a subjective mojo, but with a very low baseline tensioning, and in this case she has it, and it's sort of reminiscent of the Franzi of the Jaini, except it has, they're more crisp. There's more, as Adimus likes to say, these almost like crystalline tendrils coming out from the hand. But these crystalline tendrils have very low baseline tensioning.
Junai Todd Low.
Shiny Jim Perrick.
That is
Quite new. Okay. So the Shiny, since they are Xi Alpha, then they are also discernment leads, much like the G9. Only what gives them the unifield face quality is their unaware emoting. So that Xi unaware expression goes all the way up the face and into the eyes, which gives the dancing eyes quality of their knee more of a toned quality because the Xi is actually infusing it with the Xi's earnest, mournful signal. Yeah, that's about it.
That's good.
Nizi, Lauren Vowles. Nizi have Z as their tandem power, which gives off the distinct signal of bracing. It has a cool sheer anvil look to it, and that will dominate the upper cheeks. You'll have some, Xi in the, start to creep in the lower cheeks area, like right below the midline. But the stronger signal is the Z of the discernments.
Nizi Joe Manganiello.
Nijai William Sanderson.
You got Mel's name?
The new?
Nope.
Oh, okay. My boo. Next up is A vampire shiny dude. Shiny Michael McMillian.
Star Wars, Clone Wars. The Grand Army of the Republic, led by Yoda, Mace Windu, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Anakin Skywalker, and other Jedi Knights, fights the new droid army of the Separatists. Oh,
Mitchell
actually,
shouldn't be here.
this one doesn't have images, so we'll skip this one.
New edition.
New edition.
Yeah, we're getting closer to the front of the list now.
Mm-hmm.
More recent.
Murdoch Mysteries. We have this one. Okay, we do. In the 1890s, William Murdoch uses radical forensic techniques for the time, including fingerprinting and trace evidence, to solve some of the city's most gruesome murders. In the late 1890s, Police Inspector William Murdoch takes a new, more scientific approach to solving crimes. Assisted by his coroner, Dr. Julia Ogden, and Constable George Crabtree, Murdoch introduces such concepts as finger marks and lie detecting machines. He has the support of his somewhat doubtful superior, Inspector Brackenreed, though at times even he finds Murdoch's methods and claims somewhat astounding.
Ooh, fingerprinting.
Back then, that was unprecedented stuff.
Yeah, that's voodoo.
Yeah, like magic.
Or BS. A lot of people are like, that's not real detective work.
Edema syrup.
Jinai Yannick Bisson.
Jinai Thomas Craig.
Shiny Helen Joy.
We haven't done shiny ladies.
Oh, we haven't. All right, so Shiny, they have Jai as their source power, and that gives them a poignancy, a very calm energy to them, and a stillness that you can read as, and yeah, and they also have like an earnest, mournful spectrum to their Jai as well, and their emoting goes all the way up to their brow line.
Johnny Harris.
Naiji Georgina O'Reilly.
That's new.
All right. So the Naiji are Jez hunters, so they're going to have that unique combination of warm emoting that goes above the midline easily into the cheeks, but it's not going to the eyes. The eyes are looking right at you, saying, "What you doing there?"
Nigel Bennett.
Naiji Sarah Gadden.
Oh, yeah, Sons of Anarchy. A man in his early 30s struggles to find a balance in his life between being a new dad and his involvement in a motorcycle club. Sons of Anarchy, aka Sam Crow, is a motorcycle club that operates both illegal and legal businesses in the small town of Charming. They combine gun running and a Garage Plus involvement in porn film. Clay, the president, likes it old school and violent, while Jax, his stepson, and the club's VP, has thoughts about changing the way things are. Based on his dead father's journey, their conflict has effects on both the club and their personal relationships.
Naiji Charlie Hunnam.
Naiji males are new.
Alright, so Naiji, they have bifield face, which is different than the unifield face because there's a separation between the eye area as well as the bottom half of the, or below the eye area, which is the mouth, including the cheeks. And with the Naiji specifically, their Ji goes all the way up to the brim line of their face, but their eyes are never overtaken. Always the cunning eyes are watching and dominant.
Nijai Mark Boone Jr.
Nizai Katie Segal.
Naiji Kim Coates.
Naiji Tommy Flanagan.
Naiji Theo Rossi.
Nizi Dayton Cali.
Maggie Sif.
Has your been done? Nizi Ron Perlman.
Naiji David Labrava.
Shiny Ryan Hurst.
That's cool.
Pharaoh Shiny.
Nizi William Lucking.
Nijai Michael Ornstein.
Shiny Winter Avezoli.
The Mentalist. Oh, Charlene will like this one.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very good show. A famous psychic outs himself as a fake and starts working as a consultant for the California Bureau of Investigation. So we can find Red John, the madman who killed his wife and daughter. After a serial killer named Red John murdered Patrick Jane's wife and daughter, Jane dedicated his life to hunting down and killing Red John, which he does. To that end, he gave up his lucrative pretense of being a psychic and joined the California Bureau of Investigation, CBI, as a consultant to team responsible for investigating the Red John case, led by senior agent Teresa Lisbon. Using Jane's exceptional gift for observation and his mentalist tricks, the team is able to close an unprecedented number of cases, but Jane's unconventional and often outright illegal methods also bring much censure down on Lisbon's head, making his assistance both a blessing and a curse. Meanwhile, the hunt for Red John continues.
Unai Simon Baker as Patrick Jane.
Shiny Robin Tani as Teresa Lisbon.
Naiji Tim Kang as Kimball Cho.
Hey.
Joe.
Joe.
Nizi Owain Yeoman as Wayne Rigsby.
Shiny Amanda Rigetti.
Nizi Rockman Dunbar. That's an awesome name.
Jaini Joe Adler.
Jinai Anjue Ellis.
And Gina
That's new.
Lernu.
Oh, cool. All right. All right, let's talk about eye stuff. Okay, so the Jinai are Nai Mojos, like the Naiji. The difference is that their Nai, while it's still the Nai that's the momentum power, it's out because they're objective. So you'll notice that their eyes have more of an out, more of a pressed up against the glass quality, more naturally engaged with the real, with the outer world. So it has kind of this more of a V sparkle to it, more of like a visceral sparkle to it. Like if you look on the right, for instance, then you see that it has this more out and engaged quality, but it's still Nai. And because of that, so it still has that quality of Nai over V, so this piercing quality, this cunning quality. So you still see this look where what they see is being informed by their simulator. So you can see that they have this look like they're out, but they're still getting insights from something within, from their worldview map.
Yeah, it looks distant in a way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just to jump on that, Demas, a very good observation, is that what he's also kind of alluding to is that for boundary setting and approachability, there are the two powers that do it. So you'll have a main one and you have a supplemental. So for the Jinai, they mainly set the boundaries. Their major momentum boundary setting is that helmet of caring. It takes up space and it constantly is projecting G energy. That's the main thing it does. But then right behind it is what Demas is alluding to. There's still Nai Mojos. The eyes are still locking on from the worldview, and so that's a supplemental kind of boundary setting. For hunters, it would be in reverse, and the same thing correlate to the gatherers and towers.
G9, Michael Gaston.
Ginai Gregory Itzen.
Nizy Pruitt Vince Taylor. Pruitt Taylor Vince.
Ginai Eric Winter.
Nizai Samir Armstrong.
Nizy Pedro Pascal.
He's everything.
Mhm. Is Game of Thrones.
Shiny Kevin Corrigan.
Nizy Terry Kinney.
I always thought that guy was. Whenever I've seen him in shows and stuff.
Yeah.
In Oz.
Mhm.
Who's on?
Bruno.
Wait, was that my turn? Okay. Nizy Malcolm McDowell.
Nizy Sander Berkeley.
Nijai Emmanuel Shriki.
All right, that'll do it for.
Ooh, we'll get into the Real Housewives.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into it. Awesome. All right, so we're now going to go to the Act 2, which is the intermediate portion, which is the weekly quiz. Jailene, take it away.
All right, so this week's quiz samples came from Alkides. Let's see, I'll read out Mitchell's since he was unable to join us today. We'll start off with you, Bruno. First of the requisites is, and I'm going to attempt to say this name, Dogo Yansi Yangsi, Tibetan Lama. What'd you guess for him, Bruno?
Said Nizy.
Yeah, I said Nizy too.
Me too.
Mitchell said Naiji.
I said Nijai.
I said
Nizy?
Naiji.
Yeah, it's mostly jazz for Dalai Lamas, I find.
Oh, did Coach say Naiji? I couldn't hear.
Yeah, he said Naiji.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, there are some other things in the mix. There are some Nijai and Zenai that get into that action as well.
Yeah.
I'm curious if we'll see some Zini eventually as well, because in the Western monastic scene, the Zini show up actually quite a bit. So I'm curious how that will play out as we explore the world. On exploring the world, just throw a little quick tidbit in here, is that it's one of these moments I'm like, ooh, it's so cool to be a emoji reader, because the difficulty Jailene was having with that person's name, it's always cool to be able to learn and pronounce different cultures and so forth, but that's why we have the unique lexicon we do, because he's obviously, just readers, clearly, we all, I think most people got this, was that he's an IG. So it goes right through any kind of cultural barrier, such as language or dress or anything like that. He's wearing, in this case, a very distinct cultural dress, and he has a very distinct cultural name, but that is no impediment to actually seeing the clear physiological cues that span the whole species. Awesome.
Yeah. Sure.
Right.
Okay, next one is Eric Schmidt, software engineer, entrepreneur, CEO of Alphabet, who's the parent company of Google. What'd you guess for him, Bruno?
Nizy.
I went with Vaiji.
Nijai.
Mitchell said Nizai.
I said Nizai.
I went with Nizai.
Nizai.
He is Nizai. Okay. Next one, Jacques Val.
Valley?
Valley? Okay, thank you. Jacques Valley, an author of books on UFOs. Bruno, what did you guess for him?
I said Zini.
I want to say Zaini too. I ended up going Naiji.
Yeah, I went with Naiji. I was really considering Zini though.
Mitchell went with Zini.
Zini.
I went with Zini.
He is, dun dun dun, Zini.
Awesome.
Okay. Next, Amy Walker, actress, YouTuber, and she's famous for doing accents. Bruno, what'd you guess for her?
I said Nizy.
I said Nizai.
Me too.
Mitchell said Naiji.
I said Nizai.
I said Nizai as well.
Okay, I'll have to check this one because we learned the weather today, so I did a little shortened reading. I have Naiji, but I would definitely take a look at that. Thank you, Jalene, for demonstrating. Yes, take care of yourself with that tissue. All right. So anyway, I'd like to take a look at that one. I had Naiji, but I could definitely see Nizai being a contender there. So let's take a look at that one.
Okay. So Naiji for now. All right. Ali Bongo, YouTuber, TV host. What did you say for Bruno?
I said Nizi.
I want to say Nizi, but I said Nizai.
I said Zenai.
Mitchell said Zaini.
I said Nizai.
I said Zaini.
I think this is an IG too.
Naiji.
We all get
Interesting.
some.
Yeah.
You two ladies, what I'm thinking of, yeah.
I was really considering IG though. That was like maybe my second guess.
What was the answer?
Naiji.
Okay.
Optionals. Curtis Yarvin, computer scientist and blogger known as Minchus Moldbug. What'd you say for him, Bruno?
Naiji.
I said Nizai.
I said Nijai.
Mitchell said Naiji.
I passed on him.
I passed on him also.
Yeah, really low media.
Yeah. Coach just said Naiji.
The media was
Okay.
scared of me.
All right. Next, Sangyam Kamala, a female Tibetan Lama. What'd you guess for her, Bruno?
Zenai.
Yeah, I actually went with Zenai too, but I was thinking Nizai too.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess Nijai.
Mitchell guessed Zinai.
I said Zenai.
I went with Zinai also.
She is Zenai.
Okay. Next, a YouTube ASMR artist, the one Lillian. What'd you guess for her, Bruno?
In my first email I said Naiji, but then I corrected it to Nizai.
Nizai.
That's my guess. Yeah, Nizai.
Thank you.
I had a hard time with her, but I think she's an Aishi.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess Jani.
Mitchell guessed Jaini.
Passed.
I guessed Nijai.
I believe she's Nijai.
That was my second guess.
Next, Genevieve von Petzinger, an paleoanthropologist and rock art expert. Would you guess for her, Bruno?
Nizai.
I wanted to say Jaini, but I went with Naiji.
I guess Zini.
Mitchell guessed Jaini.
I said Zenai.
I didn't guess on her. I passed.
I believe this is a Nijai.
Hmm.
Nijai. I couldn't narrow it down past that round.
Yeah.
It's very rare to see anything other than the Jez interested in like cultural, very, very beginnings. I don't know.
You just seen the Nijai in history, but
Human history, yeah.
human history.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
it seemed maybe it's
I feel like
stretched to cultural history and.
yeah, I mean, I feel like I've seen Nai doing anthropological stuff, but Nujez generally worry more about like the big storyline of humans like that.
Yeah.
But,
I know Zenai
anyways.
also have a bit of an interest.
Yeah, I
It's
wondering about that.
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail.
That's okay.
It's okay.
No worries.
No problem. So, last
Jason?
one is Jason Ralph, actor of The Magicians. Would you guess for him, Bruno?
Zenai.
Yeah, I said Zenai.
I said Naiji.
Mr. Mitchell said Naiji.
Pass.
I said Jinai.
He was a bit of a tricky one. I believe he's a Jinai, but he was kind of like doing like a Naiji thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The beard and the hair, the whole
When he
outfit.
actually emoted, it went up quite
Yeah.
high. He actually reminded me of Charlie Cox a little bit.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I got that too.
Of who?
Charlie
Cox.
Cox from Daredevil.
Oh, okay. I got Jason Momoa from Game of Thrones.
Interesting.
Khal Drogo,
Interesting.
like a very small
we're
Khal
like-
Drogo,
yeah.
his little brother. Or
That's
something.
like slightly built though. I mean, not quite super slight, but for a pilot, he's a bit slightly.
Yeah. Well,
Alright, shall we look at Amy Walker first?
yes. So who got her as a Naiji?
Mitchell?
Mitchell. Yeah, Mitchell.
I think it
So,
looks good for this one. This is the one that I wanted to look at.
all right. So, Amy Walker, accents. Okay, let's see.
Hello, my name is Amy Walker. I'm 25 years old and I was born in London, England. You're right, I'm Amy Walker. I'm 25 years old and I was born in London, weren't I?
Okay. I would prefer to watch another video where she's not doing rehearsed things. That's one thing on her.
Nothing rehearsed, right? Yeah.
Yeah, if you can. That's a performance. Performances are always more challenging.
It's tough because she does a lot of performance in a lot of videos.
Yeah. If you had a choice.
Congratulations. You've made it through all 5 parts of the standard American accent tutorial.
If you go on her channel, her newest video.
One of the videos that was posted was an interview. Why don't we just do that one?
Okay. Cool.
Sure, that sounds
But
Are
good.
you
here-
doing stuff on this one?
Yeah, but right here I'm seeing that it looks like the cheeks are engaging more than I think I'd see on Beneath's eye. But she really projects that G. Those eyes are kind of looking at me while right there.
Yeah.
She's kind of doing a G move and she's staring at me while she's doing it.
She always made me. I like her energy, but she's a little bit off in energy, I think.
Well, she's cagey for sure.
Yeah.
It's a great way to hide inside accents and other kinds of affectations.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, my name is Amy Walker. I'm 25 years old and I'm
It will
Australian.
become an interview.
We live in a musical family.
Okay.
Both my parents are singer-songwriters and musicians.
That's Slinky.
And
That's not Bob what
so
she's
it
doing.
probably started with
I don't believe.
singing for me.
It was a double jump, very subtle, but it was like, so that's how that is. Yeah.
I've posted her on the forum a couple times before, and I thought she was a Naiji for a long time. But then I saw that Nizai Carmen,
Maybe one would be a little different.
and they look just alike, except maybe they're not the same mojo. But
Same with accent.
sometimes sometimes people can look a lot alike and not be the same mojo.
Yeah, that's why you have to.
It's just like a superficial.
Why ripping them?
And then I emailed something.
Yeah, but I do believe, although her cheeks, she does have rather smooth cheeks. Her face, I think, has more elongation, subjective, and that the cheeks are moving when she emotes. And particularly, the first thing I'm noticing is that she's doing this the way she talks. She's kind of hypnotizing the audience. Nizai, they don't do that as much. She's sort of hypnotizing here. And
Yeah.
when she does her G maneuver, she keeps staring at me or the audience as she does so.
YouTube saying I had comments on my video.
Right there, comes on the
I
video.
had,
Yeah.
That's a Slinky Judd.
yeah, saw your video on break.com.
And she has a poise to her too.
Yeah, she does.
And then they looked at my
And then they
website,
looked.
or looked at my other videos.
When she moves forward quickly.
Monologues and songs and things on YouTube.
There's also calculatedness to the way that she.
Yeah, all that move, that whole thing there. When she actually went out to the camera on the way back, her mouth big, her eyes were locked on the entire time.
Yeah.
Magic.
Got Ali Bongo. Did did somebody get her as Naiji correctly?
I didn't.
We all guessed.
I think everyone gets cerebral.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
yeah, this one.
Nizai or Zaini.
Yeah, I could see Nai could be a possibility because she kind of does sort of riff a little bit like Jenna Marbles, but I don't think anyone said Nai
I said Naiji.
Someone
Oh
said-
yeah. Never mind.
I was gonna ask Naiji when I first saw her videos earlier this week, because she was. I saw.
Hi guys, so it's been over a month, but I am back and uni is over for the year. So just wanted to start off this video.
Okay, right there. It's over the air. When she did that, that's G with the V. The first thing that pops out to me at a high level, kind of like a riff level or or like a fifth gear, is not that Nizy don't, but there's a particular flavor, I guess I call it warm. Warm geeking out. this is Naiji geeking out. So let me tell you about the coolest thing ever. You know what I mean? It's like even pretending to be kind of like a comically geeky person about. She's doing like a Valley Girl geeking out on something, but she's not geeking out on Valley Girl stuff. That juxtaposition also jumps.
It's similar to a Dodger from Demus's quiz, Brooke Lawson.
Might be. I don't remember that off the top of my head. Who's that? Brooke Lawson?
I can. It's a link here.
Okay, so I actually wanted to talk to you guys.
I thought I was saying Pablo. Yeah.
No, that's Slinky with a lot of V. That's one thing. I'd say the theme of why people got her and the other one wrong is that two things seem to be quite popular with vlogging that lends itself quite well to cerebrals, particularly adserbs, really crush on this. So Naiji are going to do it because they realize that's the winning form. And it's these two things.
Oh, man.
She's going to be sort of really amped the whole time because high energy, high energy, high energy, high energy, high energy. So these vloggers, that seems to be something they're taught. And when Naiji get into anything, they'll go and look up how do you do this well. They're like, okay, I'm going to crush that. So she's crushing that. She's being high energy this whole time. The other one is very clipped with the delivery. Zip, 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 zippy along the way. No waste of time. I wouldn't waste my viewers' time. You can count on me not to waste time. So up energy and not wasting any time.
And that's
Top comments on my channel about being my hair looking like a mixture of fire and a fruit salad sweet.
Okay, so she's going to be tricky to track. I'll tell you how I'm tracking her and see if you guys can dial in on this. She's using a constant swivel motion. She has a amped, pumped up stage presence, synonymous swivel that she's doing from the beginning of this interview the whole time. So you're going to have to note these things in motion. But you guys have done a lot of this. You guys have a lot of training where they'll kind of rest in a tower sway. They will stay out in a jut, and you kind of note a bit what they're doing. She's going to be more challenging. She's very good because she's just going to keep moving. A lot of people cannot read a moving target if it never stops. So what I'm noting is, however, she keeps upping the emotional delivery as compared to Naiji comedic routines on the out phase. And so I said this, and blah, 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 and she pops it. She gives it warm pop. But she's moving the whole time. When she comes up to the screen, notice it gets warm. And then as she pulls back in motion, she cools, making sure she doesn't get out of control. So in character, flashy pop, 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 make the character live, and then stay on the rails. So she's kind of swiveling in and out. Now the whole time she's doing this in and out, she's keeping her V up. So that's one thing probably a lot of people were thinking perhaps they were seeing a gather because she's going to have this up energy the whole time. But look for that, warming on the way out and cooling on the way back away from the camera, and it's slinky. It never actually has upward lift. Even though the V is giving it this up energy, the actual movement, if you track it, she's doing this, forward and back in a slinky, hard-to-track way. That's what hunters do, particularly Ni Alpha, forward and back. She's not actually doing what a real gather does. She's like up and down, and they kind of rotate their shoulder like juggling and sort of like almost like a hula hoop in the area the more they get pumped up. It may look like that because she's doing this figure eight. The figure eight, though, is the headbanger. She's very elegant, she's very funny, she's being very outgoing, but she's actually the classic hunter back and forth thing, and she's doing the figure eight as she does it. Girlfriend, and she's adding these great affectations to it as she does so. Tricky. Right here, also, the thing in her mouth, the holding, the tensioning. She's not adapted. There's too much tensioning in those wrists and the fingers.
Is that you guys? Love my accent.
Love.
It's weird because out of everything to do with me, about everything about myself, my accent is the thing that I hate.
Okay, so those who guessed adserb were probably then tracking that she's warm going out and cool going back. So the thing to note is that the slinky is slinky, not bobble, and how high it goes into her cheeks. Her cheeks are rather smooth, which makes it a little harder. Okay, 1 second. Oh, that was helpful. Darn it. Anyway, I can't catch it, but keep looking for it. When her hands come on camera, they're more elongated than a Nizai would be, and they cut. Very playfully. She playfully cuts to the air. I cut to the air with the greatest of ease. Yeah, but you're cutting to the air because you're a hunter.
Tend to notice that I am from Yorkshire. But I'm glad you guys like it because it makes me like it a bit more and it makes me feel a little bit happy about that. Now I understand a lot of you guys don't even know where Yorkshire is, never mind the culture behind it or anything. So.
And it's she's in a very playful kind of trying to make the audience enjoy her presence mode. But you'll notice while she's doing this, she's actually in a slight hunter hunch most of this time. So she's doing a figure 8, serpentine figure 8, backwards and forwards, warm front, cool back, and doing all of that with a slight hunch to her chest area and her neck. I see slight hunch. It's been there most of this time. In fact, if I was going to guess on it, she's probably got her arms propped on something in the classic style, on her knee or perhaps the desk. And I think she's been leaning on it. So not only she's curved over, but I think she might even be leaning something in what they normally do, leaning forward with that hunter hunch and having their forearms on their knees.
She also reminds me a little of Haley Williams from Paramore.
What's that?
She reminds me a little bit of Haley Williams from Paramore.
Yes. Oh, just yeah. That's probably close to what I think of too.
Yeah.
And same thing, and she's very playful and upbeat and positive in the way she kind of does things, but there's still that movement's there.
Yeah, her movement seems very formulaic in a way, right? Like it's a formula that she has in her head, of how to move, and she just keeps repeating it in a way, like.
Well, I wouldn't say necessarily formulaic because it is rather charismatic, and I would say that she has game to shift. If I was to assess her abilities, I definitely would think she can shift quite well. That's my initial reading her. But what you're noting is true, but I would say formulaic. It is thought out. Doesn't mean she can't shift the formula, but yes, she is, what's the word for that, guiding everything. There's a guiding hand in every move she's doing, this whole thing. Oh, hey, girl. All of it, it's...
masterminded in a way?
Yeah, there's no... deliberate. That's the word. There is a deliberateness to what she's doing. Even this playfulness, right here. Like, this is a creature she's going inside now to check how the playfulness is going. And
with a Nizai.
Those cheeks are a little too activated to be a Nizai.
Aren't Nizai also a little bit deliberate though with their G? But it's different because they're adaptive, right? I mean,
it is because that's a good question. But what you're talking about, it's a very good question, Glenn, is that the G is naturally a directed power. You're right. So anytime you're using G, there will be a deliberateness to it. But then there's a question of momentum deliberateness or modulation. So she is comfortably staying in this deliberate, how she's doing her slinky the whole time, and it actually seems comfortable, and she feels safe there. She likes actually staying where she is deliberately choosing her actions. Actually, you'll see sometimes with Nizai, actually all the gatherers, for example, they can even look like they're maybe floundering a little bit if they're asked to direct everything 24/7. At some point, they're like, okay, that was fun for a little while, but I can move on now. But often hunters will feel safe, like they'll get in that role and they can talk to the camera or do other things in that role. Outside the role is challenging. Within the role, they can be extremely outgoing and charismatic like she's doing here. Okay, that wave of the hand, low viscosity and elongated digits. And she's still got the hunter hunch, and the face is elongated as well. Those smooth cheeks I see can give people problems. Her cheeks are rather smooth. What helps with that? It's helping me a lot. Models. Smooth cheeks is the rule of the day. Man, it's been a lot of fun figuring out how high the G goes when everyone's keep their cheeks as smooth as they can. So that helps with these kinds of riffs here. Is there one more before we move on?
Is there anyone in the optionals that someone wants to particularly take a look at?
I think there were a couple we had issue with, right? I don't know. How
about Lilium?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay. I got her as a Nijai. Did somebody else?
Oh, you got her. Cool.
Yeah, as Nijai.
I guess.
What about Guinevere? Did anybody get her?
I got her.
I passed, but yeah.
I think a considerable number of us didn't get William, right?
I'll start with the first one.
Yeah, so we'll start off with
Yeah.
the first one, okay. The one will. Right.
Both are Nijai. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Can we try a different video? This one is hard for me to read.
How come?
I don't know. You can't hear her very well, and also
Super close
There's
face
way better-
crop. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's way
that's
better
the biggest challenge I had with their videos.
They did the best you can, but I think the optionals were a little more.
Right.
Yeah, sure.
Limited to begin with. So and she does.
That's a second channel for vlogging. Let me see if I can find
Yeah.
videos
yeah,
there.
yeah.
If you find it, go ahead.
I think in that second channel, some of the ones that were linked in the thread weren't actually her. It was like someone who like shared her channel. So it's something to keep in mind. Is that that's a shared channel?
Okay, I think might have one here. So let me try this out.
Oh, shit.
It's a little less.
There we go. It looks like she's on the right.
Yeah, with the blonde hair. So to me, it jumped out. Her eyes were out. Her flashes were really big of me. I wasn't seeing when she's smiling like this. It wasn't going into the eyes.
Oh, John, great job. You also just get a quick assessment of what you're guessing.
I think I heard shiny.
Naiji as well.
And Naiji.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so shiny and Naiji. So that's why I was pointing out the because of the shiny. You know, I didn't see the emoting going into the eyes. As far as the eyes, again, I was seeing dancing. They had they have that laughing eye quality. She also bites the lower lip quite a bit and does those shy rolls like she's doing right now. That steered me away from Naiji. That and that I wasn't seeing cunning. And just very playful. Like it seemed like the playful energy was like major momentum.
Because this will be the hangout and this will be the chat. Hello. Hello everyone. Don't be so kind, I know you.
Now, the person on her left is her girlfriend, who seems to be
Okay.
Naiji.
There's actually another channel. It's called Lily V or something.
Yeah,
There's
that's
way
the
better
two of them.
footage. There's way better footage of
If you
her.
find better footage, feel free to load it.
Sure, I'm gonna send you guys the
So
link.
this looks to be like a Najez couple. Is that what do you think of that, Coach? That is her girlfriend on the left over there.
And she looks Najez.
You think she?
But only the name is a little bit wrong. I know.
Got a minute there, Glenn.
I can't get her right now.
Okay. No, never mind.
I was
It might
thinking
be double Nijai.
it might be double Nijai.
Yeah, that would make sense as well.
Since they're a couple, I would prefer to make that distinction in the video with her friend where she's by herself. Because that way I could more easily keep my fifth gear where it needs to be, not being concerned with their relationship and whether or not they got ideal or, you know what I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a modifier.
Okay, so that's what I was waiting for, Glenn. So if you want to change the videos.
Yep, I can't find other videos. I don't know what that second channel looks like. So if you guys have one,
I put it in. I don't know
you
if you
loaded
can.
it.
Yeah, I don't know how to load it. If that's.
Yeah, I can.
Was it this one?
Yep. I think this is her girlfriend.
Right now, what we're seeing is her.
Yeah, this is her.
So lush.
No, I think that's her girlfriend.
Are you, if you're looking at the video that we're looking at right now,
Yeah, I'm looking at that video.
cosmetics, it's her.
That's her, Ben.
That's one Lillian.
Peeking out here is the Brazilian hair, since I style it quite a lot. And it is the magic.
You skip forward.
Oh, that tastes of
That is what I'm currently doing.
I think that's easy.
to have that connection.
I don't think it's William.
Lots of iPod.
Yeah, that's her.
That's not William, I don't think.
That
It's
What's that?
That's the picture that's on the site.
that is her with brunette hair.
That is
Same one as
the
blonde.
lip ring.
Real knowledge about
The lip ring, that's her.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, oh, eyes unhooded.
They really pop out.
They really pop out. She has the apple cheeks. Doesn't go in. Dry doesn't go into her eyes.
Even there, she did the laugh. She kind of, yeah, she went, she's inward laugh, pleased herself. She does them quite a bit here, but they keep going up in the cheeks. They don't hit the eyes. The eye dancing, that never leaves. Watch it. Watch your eyes, and then while watching your eyes, try to have your eyes also be able to take in the periphery, her mouth. And you're gonna see it keep going like doop, 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 up the face and the cheeks, but the peepers never stop peeping.
Yeah, but her eyes, they really confuse me because sometimes they look very sleepy, and then every now and then they pop out. I mean, they popping out is natural, but when they like get all like closed and lidded, it looks all.
Yeah, they seem rather open most of the time to me. I think one thing you might be noting, she has a slowness to her from the Jai that gives a slowness in her movement. There's a heaviness in her voice and a little smokier.
Yes.
I see what you're talking about, but the eyes themselves do seem to be out quite a bit. This is the kind of rip that can easy mistake for subjective, because I'm sure she feels quite to herself. But while she is sort of just kind of holding her space with that Jai, the watchfulness, even here when she goes into her subjective function, she has a rather wide-eye way of going to her left and right. Like right there. When she went off to her Nai, even then she had a rather drinking in look.
No, I agree. I was really confused between Nai and Ni, and I ended up going with
Well, you know what? I
Zai.
can see that because that Jai I was talking about that makes her a little slower. It could almost be mistaken. I think they have never for Slinky. She has this, and she has this measured way of speaking, and her head bobble is kind of like got this sort of warm, slow breeze quality to it.
Yeah, that's what I thought I was seeing.
Yeah, that's bobble there. Yeah, you're right. It's bobble with some nice Jai kind of weight to it. It kind of gives it a little bit a slower, languidly bobble. But a slower, languid bobble is not Slinky, so that's a good distinction there.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's drinking. All right, cool.
All right.
All right, that'll do it for there. I think do you have Alcides? Did he send anything in for us? If not, we'll most nicely up.
I guess that somebody else mentioned Genevieve. You wanted?
Do we want to still review?
Well, it's a little past 7 now.
Okay,
Did anyone get that one right?
I got it.
I
Okay, then why don't you go and take lead in that? Let's do that like maybe just like 4 minutes, and that'll still leave us 20 minutes for the live read.
Okay. Charlene, do you have the video?
I'm loading it up.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I actually thought subjective for her very strongly, personally. Also going back.
I can see that. I mean, her face is it's kind of thin for a gatherer. And I personally was between Zenai and Nijai because I felt the Z and the Jai pretty strongly. It's very deadpan. I mean, I can relate to it personally. Like that's how I talk sometimes when I'm trying to explain things. Like just very flat. Yeah, I went with Nijai because just to be honest, it was just because of her interest in like the beginnings of humankind. Like that's very much a his thing.
Right.
But I
Something
really
that was
wasn't sure
helpful
if
for
it's
me,
really Xena.
because a lot of you thought perhaps Shiny, and I can see that because of her stillness, and she has a bit longer digits. On her digits, the viscosity level helped me see that it was a gather, not a tower. And then also, even though they're a bit longer, they had this more curled quality. So curled, lower viscosity, and quicker. So maybe watch another one there.
Yeah, she does seem naturally more quick than a Shiny, I guess.
Like that last. She was actually in her jai. She was on her right, so she kind of make sure she was doing everything well as she was explaining it. But then when her hands would come into gesture, they would still have that quick rolling motion of a gatherer. Here, see that cupping? Zhai and also Zaini tend to have more of their hands like this when they are explaining things. They also do this rolling that adapters are prone to, but their hands tend to be the fingers a little more loosely extended. There's hers as a little slight tension cup and a quickness rotation.
Yeah, the cupping. That's a good one.
What was somebody doing down
The
there
keto watch
with a stone lamp? I mean, to me it made sense, right? But you know, this is the kind of question that I'm trying to answer with my research. I've studied some of the oldest art in the world. It was created by these early artists in Europe.
I'm getting a riff of someone. Ken.
And the thing is,
I got a mouth riff of a Chelsea Handler. I was actually between I was actually thinking Nizi as well heavily because of Chelsea Handler. Just the mouth shape. So sometimes you see how the corner of the lips turn upwards, like at the edge, they're like up a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes sometimes Z or Jai users have that corner turned up.
And again, look when her hand did the motion. It came out from her wrist, kind of like you're casting a line for fishing or whatever. All humans do this kind of motion, almost like you're flicking a whip or whatever. As she did it, notice that there is a looseness to it, but that there is a tightness in holding the cup. Overall, the fingers and the wrist are loose. They are low tensioning, but as she extended her hand, her cup stayed. With a Zhiny, and also Zaini in their way, you'll notice as they roll, they may start with a cup. As they do, they'll roll, their fingers will naturally kind of just lightly splay out. And the cup may return as the hand comes back to them, but as they roll, often the hands will just kind of lightly extend out like this as they do so. Her cup stayed in that cup motion naturally.
Yeah, because there's less tensioning, and so it kind of breaks open more easily, right? The hand.
Exactly. So when that light flicking of the wrist is enough energy thrown into the fingers that a tower will usually have their fingers stretched slightly away from the hand. As their hand does that motion, the fingers will from the force of it. But the gatherer, which has that subtle but important difference in viscosity, has enough viscosity, enough tensioning difference that when she rolls her hand, it's loose. It does not push or have the sharpness of a directive, but it's enough tensioning that the fingers stay still more in one unit and cupped.
Yeah, and for the directives, it's going to be even more tensioning, even more control.
Even more tensioning. Yeah, because what she didn't do is she didn't really slice. When it gets into the directives, you'll notice the hunters will kind of cut the air, and pilots kind of almost like it feels like when they do this, not only does their hand go through, you can almost feel like waves coming from their hand, just as they're jutting, and really makes them feel like they're impacting the environment. It's like paddles, the paddle hand. All the pilots have those paddle hands.
Yeah, whereas the adapters have a low viscosity or high viscosity adjustment.
Definitely. But as far as telling between gatherers and towers, little things like that can help you distinguish between the tensioning difference between the adaptives.
That is crazy, dude. That is a crazy amount of detail you got from.
That is. I really like that explanation too. That was really good.
I mean,
I feel like I understood that.
This gets that question of the typology question that was asked in the forum. I won't get too much on this because I'll talk about it later. But there's a lot of careers that actually will teach you what you need to know way better. Piloter's the best, but if you were to go for the next after that, you would go nowhere near typology. You would actually go to people who actually do one-on-one combat sports. You would go to salespeople, casting directors, poker players, con artists, basically people who make money by reading all the little things humans do. That's how you play this game. Anyway, is there a live read sample?
No, there's not. So
You can come up with one.
Because that's a little difference right there. That's a little difference that would say whether or not a punch was a fake punch or a real one. And thus you would know how much energy to react to.
Yeah, that's good.
didn't get a live read. So.
We did not? Okay, then let's see. How about this? I saw when looking up, what's his name, for the Magicians, there's people in that cast. It's a new hot show. I think there's some new people in there.
The actress.
Right? Is there a female lead? Let's do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I like the way that they got along with each other. So I think that would be cool.
Stella Maeve. What's her name?
And I don't think we have her.
Good. You know, the prestige of the books. I think
Someone who
that's a
came
lot
to mind was Emmanuel Shrieky.
Really?
She comes to mind. Something about that gaze. And
Does her face seem a bit long to you?
what's that?
Does her face seem a bit long to you?
Let's see.
Emmanuel, I think, has a little bit more of a rounder face, but you know that may or may not be important.
Well, it's something, you know, you want to do a good job and you want to be able to become these characters to the best of your ability and keep the fans happy.
And I guess for the people who haven't read the book, what can you tell us to start with? What's the starter information that maybe some people might want to know?
Julia, really intense. She's super, super smart and intellectual of sorts. Really great.
So I think
she's passionate and driven.
it's her voice too. That's reminding me of Emmanuel Shrieky. That smoky, and Eliza Dushku too.
I mean, I think it's safe to say she's kind of the one who seems
It may not be. Those are just ones that are jumping in line.
Later on, that's not the case.
Role reversals between her and
It's interesting.
yeah.
How does she see?
So she seems guarded, like KG. I don't know if you guys would agree to that.
Yeah. Have been friends since they were each children.
You think she might be a Naiji?
Like a Nez Alpha.
And magic was their
That KG, like, you know, like the eyes are doing something different than the rest of the face.
I
don't know what you guys-
sort of
What do you guys see?
extracurricular activity. Wow, that was like the brain of thought. That they did this thing together, and you know, as they got older, I think.
What do you guys think in terms of like emoting or not, you know, above the midline or not?
Suppress those feelings.
I'm thinking about that.
Yeah, I'm looking at her pictures too. You see different
You know, a boring robot
expressions.
like everyone else in society.
Her eyes, I don't know, sometimes I feel like they do have a little bit of a tone to them, but I'm not sure.
As they
have.
He seems kind of held closely together. I don't know.
them go off
I'm kind of,
directions.
but I don't know if that's just because it's an
Perceptive.
interview and she's nervous.
Magic is real, you know, Julia's book. Because she was, you know, almost making, like, telling Hugh that he's got to, like, man up and become a, you know, citizen of society and, like, stop.
She purses her mouth in an interesting way.
Like, though she was completely wrong. So you sort of see him start to come into his own and see her sort of kind of down.
The gesturing's really interesting.
I don't think it gives too much away.
It kind of feels, I don't know, like maybe she could be directive.
So I haven't been watching the video, but I've just been looking at pictures, and she reminds me a little bit of Rashida Jones, who's in Wing's Eye.
That's good. I was getting some riff of somebody.
of her and Rashida Jones.
Long term, I don't. According to the books,
Rashida Jones, for some reason, is looking a little more angular than her, like more like a Heidi Klum almost.
Yeah, and I feel like her face is a bit more wider too.
Yeah.
She reminded me of someone else like a lot, but I can't pin down who.
I know.
The Rashida Jones thing is not very close. It's just a thought.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I feel like she's reminding me of somebody, but I can't quite put my finger on it.
Does she look at all like somebody was saying Naiji, like I don't know, Emily Watson? I don't know if we've looked at her, if she would apply to this case.
Emma Watson.
Emma Watson, yeah, thank you. Let's see. Her eyes seem like Emma Watson's eyes seem more like on point. Like
they do.
Down.
Facially, they look a little bit different. They have a different kind of look, but yeah, and I don't know if I see this particular connection here. Could she be a Jai-V, maybe?
Huh. Like Halle Berry? Her eyes seem a little softer. Maybe not. Like Alyssa Milano. She's a Vijay, right? Alyssa.
And it looks really without the special effects.
Alyssa Milano, is she a Vijay? Coach? Vijay.
Yeah, but there are those moments of like.
Oh, I know who it is. There's a Jaini on the show called The Flash.
Yeah.
She kind of reminds me of her. Her name is Candice Patton.
I said this in one interview, and now it's like.
This is the riff I'm getting. I'll send her name out.
I wanted to have a scar out in New York when I was 17. It was my first job to Chinese.
It's a great story, though.
Yeah.
She's a Jaini, actually. But I feel like I might be seeing her. I don't know.
Well, she's also reminded me of what's Murphy?
Brittany Murphy?
She passed away, but
Brittany Murphy?
Brittany Murphy, yeah.
Was it Nijai?
Uh-huh.
Brittany Murphy? Okay.
Oh, I don't remember.
That's a good riff, Glenn. Yeah,
I don't know
I
if
was
I'm
getting
seeing Brittany Murphy.
No,
Yeah.
What you said about Candice Patton, I think I think the person she reminds me of, I'm not sure. Probably plays the like sort of like the young innocent part in a TV show or something. Like in this interview, she looks much more professional and older. But in the picture, she looks like she's playing that part of like the young girl that needs to be rescued or whatever.
In the show, The Magicians?
I mean not her, but the person she reminds me of.
Oh, okay.
Who I can't think of right now at the moment. Like it just seems like a Jaini type of archetype, you know.
Okay, I see. I think. Yeah.
Like when you said Candice Patton, that looking at her picture, that makes some sense. The eyes are a little bit different.
There's a person that I've been trying to put my finger on who she reminds me of, and it's a comedian named Nicole Sullivan, who is actually Mizai. I posted some Google pics just to see what your opinion is on that.
From the video or pictures remind you of her?
What's that?
What reminded you of Nicole Sullivan, the video or the pictures?
Video.
Nicole Sullivan. Oh. I feel like with Nicole, I can see the emoting stop at the midline very, very easily. I can see that, like.
Interesting. She's Kid Cudi's girlfriend.
Magic and
She reminds me of Chloe Bennett a little bit.
Reminds of who?
Oh, Chloe Bennett.
You know what, Jaileen? I think who's the one actress in Game of Thrones that Nijai? Una Chaplin.
Oh,
Well, there's
that's interesting.
Daenerys.
Oh man, yeah, she's a long face. She's a long face Nijai.
Yeah, she's a long face Nijai. That's why
Yes.
I'm looking. She seems interesting.
That is good, Glenn. Very good. I think that's it.
Maybe. Let's see. Because I know there are Nijai that have longer faces. It's just.
I know. I'm feeling it in my gut. I pasted the link in the chat thing.
Yeah,
That's not who I was thinking of, but yeah, that also works really well.
Yeah, it's
that works well.
I'm getting a sense of I'm getting a sense of perception lead from her. So like that does help reconcile that bit.
Okay. Do you want to move to guessing, or do you want to?
I'd like
we have like 6
another
minutes.
video. Right, let's watch another video, I think.
Yes. I think we should use our time because I don't know. I'm
Well,
not.
we could move to someone else in Magicians if we wanted to.
No.
Yeah, but we only have like 6 minutes. I think we may as well use the rest of our time. Unless we really want to end it now, which is totally fine. It's just...
That's fine. We have to 7:30.
Yeah, I will.
I think it would be too quickly if we ended it now.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like Harry Potter meets Bret Easton Ellis. You know, it's dark, and these characters are flawed. They're flawed like real human beings. So they're not these, you know, picture perfect people that you know can do no wrong. It's beautiful to see the imperfection.
Books, and then there's obviously you know some where they go off of this and like you know sometimes they're like really in tune to what the book says. How do you feel like the story's done all of the books?
It's so hard when you're trying to translate something.
Yeah, the voice is still giving me Eliza Dushku.
And I think they did a good job of crafting it. So they really did a good job of crafting it.
Sorry, my memory sucks.
No problem.
Eliza Dushku's a Nizai, I believe?
Nijai.
Nijai.
No, Jarlene's been saying Nijai from the beginning, right? Emmanuel Shariki, Eliza Dushku, Brittany Murphy. I mean, you zeroed in on this from the beginning. But,
I'm not entirely.
I'm not
entirely convinced yet, but I think that's very likely on my end.
I'm gonna be shocked. I'm gonna be so floored if it's anything but Nijai. At this point, like with Glenn's riff with Una Chaplin, that's not what I was thinking of. I was thinking of someone else, but that clicked immediately.
Mm.
I just can't remember who I'm thinking of. But I get the impression whoever I'm thinking of is probably a Nijai, whether or not she's been read.
She has a lot of heaviness in her voice.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to like the eyes I think are probably the most tricky. I think the emoting is easier for me to see, like Jai, but the eyes I'm having trouble. You know, I'm not saying I'm having trouble seeing. I'm saying I'm having trouble reaching the conclusion that you know she really stands out to me as a Nijai.
Yeah, I feel like Nijai would be a good answer.
I'm considering, you know, something similar like a Jaini, and it doesn't seem very far-fetched to me. Or maybe even, I don't know, possibly an IG if the moding as well could possibly be true.
Or 20-something. What do I know about it? And I took the pen and paper and Julia wrote the whole second book. So it's essentially the book.
Have you seen Game of Thrones, Ben?
But we were in sync like that.
I've watched a few episodes, but I haven't watched it at length.
You haven't gotten to the part with Una Chaplin?
It was a long time ago, so I don't know. It was. I only watched like the first 3 episodes.
Oh, hello, what time?
We have a really cool cult following. It's got its own little thing. I mean, it's campy and fun, and it's also
So seem like sort of compressed her digits. Have a waviness.
What do you feel like can happen? Going off of that.
I have no idea what they have planned. I'm supposed to actually go into the writer's room.
I think I'm leaning more towards Nishai than anything else. So I'll probably.
The Shield is one. I think there's an actress that has like a similar, maybe look.
From where?
Marvel Agents of Shield.
Oh yeah, Chloe Bennett. I mentioned her.
What's
right?
that? Sorry.
Oh, Chloe Bennett. I mentioned her.
Not Chloe Bennett actually. I was thinking.
Oh, someone else.
Yeah, I was thinking about the.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
No, sorry, you're right. Chloe Bennett, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
She's a shiny.
Mm-hmm.
She's a shiny, or she's a.
She's a shiny. Yep.
So she does have like more, like an outward sort of game. Like,
yeah.
Got that outward charisma thing.
Yeah, she's got that. She has, expressive energy and,
I can see the Unifield face very strongly with Chloe.
Yeah.
There's a sleepiness that I see with Stella, though, in the eyes. I don't know what that's about.
Sleepiness is an interesting signal, because, like, isn't
Drowsy.
I guess is that would that be Z, or would that be, like...
I think, I don't know.
Sleepiness can mean a lot of things, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it would be Jai. I've seen
Tower Power Mojo.
I've seen Sleepy Nisha, and they actually do look similar to her.
Yeah.
To how her eyes look.
Yeah.
We were just talking about this with Lilium. I mean, Lilium does a very sleepy-eyed thing every now and then.
Hers is a bit different though, because she's got like.
It's different, but it's exactly what Coach was talking about, like how the Tower Power can come into a gatherer and make them seem a little more distant, sleepy.
We're at 7:30, guys. Time to put forward our guesses. Start off with you, Bruno.
I'm gonna go with Nijai.
Yeah, I want to say Nijai, but I feel like I have to say Jaini. But the Nijai will be my second guess, and the Naiji will be third. It's tough though for me.
I don't know. I have like no idea, but I'm just gonna guess shiny. I don't really, but I'm really it's really close between shiny and Nijai though.
Yeah, it's a split decision.
I'm gonna say Nijai.
I'm gonna say Nijai on her.
She is a Nijai. Great job, team. You guys are really on that. I was keeping my face straight, but you guys are doing a lot of great stuff with the riffing. Actually, several things you mentioned were same ones I was thinking. So first of all, the longness and the unusual. She has a bit of a wavy mouth. So as far as like telling if she is directive or subjective, and also if she's using Ji or Jai. So first off, the riffs that helped me, you guys mentioned 2 of the 3. Jarlene said Brittany Murphy, and I got that as well. There's kind of sensitivity and cagey, but like probably more vulnerable than her caginess lets on. She has like all this charismatic cagey, but she's actually got a more of a sensitivity than one would think. So that helped me. The Una Chaplin, that helped me quite a bit as well. The sensitivity, she has those kind of drinking in eyes, but a sleepy kind of game in a way. Then where I got another one that helped me, I thought Jarlene was going to say it actually went to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., was Ruth Nega. She doesn't look at her.
Yeah, I was actually, when Jarlene said that and she said it wasn't Chloe Bennett, I was thinking of that. I was thinking, whoa, is she thinking of Ruth Nega?
Yeah, she didn't come to mind, but like now that you say it, she sees a good riff too.
The ones that I was a little had to kind of make sure I weighted was the ones you were at. We mentioned one of them anyway. One was you mentioned Rashida Jones.
Somebody mentioned
Rashida Jones, but yeah, Bruno. Yeah, that I also when I saw her face, that mouth that wavy mouth.
Rashida Jones Nijai?
She needs eye. But that's why this sample here, Stella Maeve, her wavy upper lip in particular, it did remind me of Rashida Jones a little bit. So I had but Ruth Nega helped me. Although Ruth Nega's mouth is more full lipped, she moves it like her. So that helped me. So Ruth Nega, Brittany Murphy, and Una Chaplin. And the other one that kind of I had to make sure it wasn't, when you guys were thinking Najee, I also put that up there for a second. She kind of, Una Chaplin and Zima, is it Madeline Zima from California? Madeline Zima, that kind of Najee, kind of dough-like.
Yeah, but she had more of the V sparkle that Madeline
Yeah.
Zima did. And whereas her eyes are diffuse here, like you can see the knee diffuseness.
But those two I did actually put up there. Rashida Jones as a knee's eye, and then she also reminded me a little bit of Madeline Zima, but no.
Also got Eliza Dushku and Manuel Shrieky also.
Yeah, I could see that, definitely her game and her voice. The voice. All right,
I know
great job.
Charlene was on this. You got this from the beginning, Charlene, from the voice. Like you were like tracking this to like Nijai voices.
Yeah, it seems like that heavy, more outward, like they can even seem more shy sometimes just because they're like...
We can actually, that being objective, they can actually put their Jai out easier in a way. They can, there's more Nijai, for example, performance artists. They're more, Bijai and Nijai have an easier time with performing performance art with their Jai than the Jai Alpha do.
Yeah, because the Jai Alpha can actually seem more cooler, aloof than any Jai. When, the Jai Alpha are actually the ones who have Jai first. But
Sure. Well, great job, everyone, and I'll be meeting with some of you this Thursday, and we'll be doing more stories ongoing with the team. So, good stuff. I don't know if everyone got it. If anyone missed the last Tree Fire Journal I did on the purifications, there was a pretty major one. So I'll let you guys just stew on this. I believe that Taylor Swift is Zine.
Yes.
Whoa.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
So enjoy that. Let us swirl around.
That's like the...
All right, everyone.
That's another design music of this. That's cool. Anyway. Cool. Have a good night, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
So,
Yep. Good night.
see you Thursday, Demas.
Yeah, see you.